Everyone thinks they know the answer to this. Should you walk your dog on a collar, or should you walk your dog on a harness? The internet's full of strong opinions. Harnesses stop pulling. No, collars stop pulling. I learned the answer the hard way when this guy, 95 pounds, this is Sam, my golden retriever, he nearly pulled my wife flat on her face. And she refused to walk him altogether. So, how did we resolve that? Today I want to break down the most common collars and harnesses and what they actually do. What they actually do, what they don't, and how they can set you back or save your sanity or your marriage. I'm going to show you the specific tools I actually use with this guy and why it works so well. So, let's start with a flat buckle collar. Been around for years. Holds ID tags. That's its job. Can you clip a leash to it? Yeah. Will it stop pulling? No. If your dog pulls, it pulls hard on their throat and it's hard on your shoulders. Good for ID tags. Not a good training solution for me. Right? Martingale collar. It tightens just enough to prevent the dog slipping out of it when they pull backwards and without choking. It is really perfect for narrow-headed breeds or any dog who tries to back out of collars. It's safe, it's reliable, it won't pull off over their head, and it can hold their tags too. Slip leads and choke chains, also been around forever. They tighten with no limits. In very skilled hands, they can be used without an accident or damage to the dog's neck. But the reality is, most people don't have the timing all the time, and the dog just ends up getting choked at some point. I don't recommend them. There are safer and more effective options now. Prong collars. I don't have a prong collar. Prong collars are sort of martingale collars with blunt metal prongs that make pulling uncomfortable on the dog's neck. I've never used one, so I can't comment. And I also really shouldn't comment on the e-collar, mostly because I don't have one and I haven't used them. An e-collar is an electronic collar that's activated by a remote control, and they're capable of delivering different levels of sound tones, hey bud, or vibrations or electric shocks, and shocks from like basic threshold sensation right up to painful shocks. They can be very effective if used humanely and with a high level of knowledge and expertise. The risk though with an e-collar is that if it's used improperly, the dog can easily associate a shock with another dog or person, and that can make aggression or reactivity way worse and maybe not fixable. There are very capable e-collar trainers out there. I am not one of them. Harnesses. So the back clip harness is the one most people know. It clips on the back. They're comfortable for the dog, but the downside of it is it encourages pulling. It often encourages pulling. Think sled dog. The pressure on the chest, they can push into it hard, and it's fine if you want to be towed, but not great if you want a relaxed walk. The front clip harness though, they kind of changed the game. The leash clips at the chest, so when the dog pulls, their body gets turned back towards you, right? That partial redirection can be enough to break their focus on a trigger for a moment, giving you that chance to re-engage them. They can still turn their heads back towards the trigger, so you don't have full control of where they're looking, but you do interrupt that fixation. And that break in focus is often the first step in dealing with leash reactivity. If you can interrupt the lock on, you can start rewarding your dog for checking back in with you, instead of escalating. I do find that the leash can tangle in the dog's feet if you don't pay attention, because the attachment point is much lower than collars or the back harness. But overall, it's one of the more useful tools for teaching loose leash walking. There's also a dual clip harness, and I don't have one, but it's a harness with both the front and the back clip, and you attach one end of the leash to the back clip and one to the front clip. It sounds like a lot to juggle, but to be fair, I haven't tried it. Head halters. So let's talk about head halters, like the Halti, like the Gentle Leader. They look like muzzles, but they're not muzzles. They fit around the nose and behind the ears. Basically, where the head goes, the body follows. And these collars control where the head goes. So it's maximum control and minimum strength from the handler. So it works because a head halter redirects the head. If your dog locks their eyes onto a trigger, you can gently turn that gaze away. That break in their fixation is critical for leash reactivity, because it opens the door for your dog to re-engage with you instead of spiraling out of control with whatever they're fixated on. Many dogs immediately pull less because the sensation is distracting. And when you couple that with loose leash walking, that sensation can become a cue that reinforces good walking. And the big one is handlers need far less strength, like 80% less. That's a huge game changer for small people with big dogs. There are some considerations though for halters, head halters. Dogs need time to get used to it, so introduce them gradually. Don't let them scratch at their face. You don't want them to scratch themselves if they try to get it off. I recommend a small safety link back to a Martingale collar for kind of maximum escape-free security. And a safety note, don't use a head halter on a long line. The risk of injury if the dog hits the end of a long line at top speed and twist their neck, that's a risk. So stick to short leashes like the 4 or 6 foots. So how did this work out for us? I walk Sam on a Martingale 100% of the time. That's my baseline. I'll add the Gentle Leader maybe 20% of the time when I need extra control, or he's just full of energy. My wife, we are still together. I convinced her to try a head collar with Sam, and she was sold on the first try. Massive improvement, thank God. I was super relieved. She uses a Martingale to hold the tags. She uses the Gentle Leader as her leash attachment point 100% of the time. And right away, that gave her the safety and the confidence that she wanted, and we're still married. So here's the takeaway. The key is knowing what each collar does, and then matching that to what you need for your dog and for your training. So a flat collar for ID, yeah, I don't have much use for a flat collar. I prefer a Martingale as the everyday baseline for the tags. Front clip harness for leverage and partial redirection away from triggers. Back clip harness for pulling you on a sled or a skateboard or off a cliff. Gentle Leader or Halti for maximum control. Full head redirection, leash reactivity management. And that's it. That's it. We use the head collar. It's super successful for us. So if you found that helpful, please like and subscribe. I'm going to try and keep providing some no-nonsense dog training. I'm John with Thoughtful Paws Dog Training. Thank you, and Happy training.